Rain hammered the cracked sidewalk. Street lamps flickered in the uneasy dark. A lone sedan idled at the curb. Its engine trembled like a wounded animal. Inside, Mia Carson's breath steamed the window. Her heart pounded against her ribcage. Thunder rolled across the empty block. The air tasted of metal and regret. Mia pressed her palm against the glass. She peered into the shadowed back seat. A sudden movement sent her breath hitching. A fading smear of red stained the seat. Her pulse raced as she fumbled for the door. Wind whipped her hair across her face. She yanked the handle, but it was locked. Panic tightened her throat like a vice. Footsteps echoed on the wet pavement. Mia spun toward the sound. A silhouette stood under a streetlight. He wore a leather jacket soaked through. His jaw was clenched. Rain dripped from his tattooed forearms. Lightning split the sky overhead. Mia's chest tightened. She recognized him. Ethan Hayes. He hadn't answered her calls. He hadn't even sent a text. His absence had torn her nights apart. Now he stood here, drenched and silent. A distant scream cut the air. Mia's heart leapt into her throat. She darted back to the sedan. The taillights flickered ominously. Ethan's boots splashed through puddles. He reached the car in 3 long strides. His hand slammed against the roof. "Get out," he rasped. Rain plastered his dark hair to his forehead. Mia's fingers shook on the door handle. She twisted it and stumbled free. Thunder boomed overhead. Ethan forced her against the hood. His breath was ragged. He stared at her with haunted eyes. "Stay close," he growled. Mia's mind spun with questions. Why had he vanished? Why return amid danger? A siren wailed in the distance. Lights strobed through the rain. Ethan's gaze flicked down the street. Footsteps multiplied behind them. Mia felt the prickle of fear. She looked up at Ethan's tattooed arm. The swirling dragon ink coiled around his wrist. It seemed to writhe in the storm's glow. He pulled her behind the car's door. "Don't move," he whispered. Shouts rang out nearby. Mia's pulse thundered in her ears. She nodded, unable to speak. Ethan scanned the intersection. A group of figures emerged from shadows. Rain masked their features. They advanced with steady steps. Mia pressed her cheek against cold metal. Her breath hitched as a hand brushed her coat. She flinched away. Ethan's arm circled her waist. His grip was fierce, protective. "Not tonight," he muttered. Lightning flared, revealing watchful eyes in the crowd. Mia's stomach twisted. She recognized one face. It was Detective Ramos from Station 14. His partner lifted a flashlight. Its beam danced across the street. Ethan's jaw clenched harder. He crouched behind the sedan. Mia hid in his shadow. Raindrops drummed a frantic tattoo on the roof. A crack of thunder shook the air. Detective Ramos called out, "Ethan Hayes, step into the light." Ethan's muscles tensed. Mia's voice caught in her throat. She swallowed hard. His eyes met hers. His gaze flickered with pain, then rage. She felt his heartbeat in his arm. Close, solid, alive. He helped her off the ground. "Stay behind me," he ordered. She nodded, tears mixing with rain. Ramos advanced, hand on his holster. Mia swallowed again. An exploding roar shattered the night. A tanker truck veered onto the street. Its brakes screamed against wet asphalt. The headlights blinded Mia. Ethan lunged forward. He shoved her hard to the curb. Glass shattered like crystal rain. The tanker skidded past them. Flames burst from its undercarriage. Heat washed over Mia's face. She scrambled away from the roaring inferno. Ethan grabbed her arm. His grip burned against her skin. They rolled into a deserted alley. Sirens converged around the burning truck. Ethan clamped a hand over her mouth. Mia's eyes widened. He pointed across the alley. A battered hatchback idled under a flickering sign. Its rear door swung open. Rain cascaded inside. In the dim glow, Mia saw a small figure. A toddler's legs. tattooed like his father's. He sat in a car seat. Ink traced a dragon across his calf. His dark eyes met Mia's. She gasped against Ethan's hand. Ethan's expression froze. Shock rippled across his face. The boy's tiny fists clenched the seatbelt. He whimpered in the dark. Mia swallowed hard past Ethan's palm. Her breath trembled. "You?" Ethan whispered. His voice cracked. Detective Ramos's shout pierced the air. "Get in the light now!" Ethan's eyes darted. Mia stared at the child. Rainwater mixed with the boy's tears. A single mantra formed in her mind. He vanished, until his tattooed son showed up. Ethan's hand shook as he released Mia. He edged toward the hatchback. Mia rose, rain-drenched and trembling. Light from the burning tanker painted them red. Sirens grew louder. Ethan reached the car. He paused before the open door. The boy whimpered again. Ethan's voice went silent. Footsteps thundered toward, and on them. Mia gripped Ethan's soaked shoulder. His back stiffened. He looked at her one last time, then slid behind the hatchback door. Mia's breath caught. She reached out, but stopped. A shout from Ramos. "Ethan Hayes, hands above your head!" Ethan's silhouette froze. Mia's heart thundered in her chest. She slid down the alley wall. Rain blurred her vision. Ethan's son whimpered softly. Mia pressed her palm to her mouth. She realized everything had changed, and nothing would ever be the same. And then a figure appeared at the alley's mouth. Mia Carson woke to sunlight filtering through pale curtains. Her small Brooklyn kitchen smelled of freshly brewed coffee. She sipped slowly, savoring warmth against cool morning air. Mia scanned her phone for missed calls. Only one unread message glowed on the screen. It read, "Court date, 3 p.m. Ramos." Her chest tightened with fresh dread. She set the mug down with gentle urgency. Mia pulled on faded jeans and a leather jacket. A framed photo on the counter caught her eye. In it, her mother held her as a toddler. Mia's eyes misted with bittersweet love. Her father ran the local auto shop downtown. He taught her how to fix a broken alternator. She brushed a strand of dark hair behind her ear. Her reflection in the window seemed tense. Mia grabbed her worn satchel and stepped outside. The neighborhood buzzed with morning routines. Delivery trucks rumbled along cobblestone streets. A hot dog vendor called out in casual cheer. Mia nodded politely as she passed by. She approached the fire escape on her apartment building. Her neighbor, Mrs. Lopez, watered window plants. "Morning, Mia," Mrs. Lopez greeted warmly. "Big day today?" she asked kindly. Mia forced a small smile. "Just paperwork," she replied softly. Mrs. Lopez nodded sympathetically. Mia climbed down to street level. Every footstep echoed her uneasy thoughts. She reached the subway. Platform near Borough Hall. Train wheels screeched as it slid into the station. Mia boarded and held the overhead strap. Her reflection in the train window showed tired eyes. She replayed last night's storm in her mind. Her thoughts drifted to the vanished Ethan Hayes. She shook away the memory of tangled sheets. She wondered if he'd remembered her name. Beside her, commuters scrolled through news feeds. Mia breathed deeply, centering herself amid chaos. She thought about her sister Jenna, in Seattle. Jenna always believed Mia deserved better. Mia tapped her finger against the train's metal pole. The carriage rattled beneath Manhattan skyscrapers. Her reflections blurred against graffiti-scarred tunnels. Mia stepped off at City Hall Station. She hurried toward the black SUV waiting outside. Detective Ramos sat behind the wheel, arms folded. His expression was unreadable in dawn light. Mia's stomach twisted as she approached. Ramos unlocked the door reluctantly. "Get in," he ordered in a low tone. Mia slid into the heated leather seat. Ramos started the engine without looking at her. He drove across the Brooklyn Bridge in silence. Suspended steel cables glinted in morning haze. Mia watched East River current swirl below. She gathered words to ask Ramos something, but his stern gaze drove them back. At Brooklyn District Court, they parked under gray sky. Ramos grabbed his badge and gestured inside. Mia followed, nerves coiling tighter with each step. Inside, polished floors reflected buzz of activity. Court officers guided them to a small room. Mia realized her ankle bracelet was missing. Fear pricked her spine. Ramos's phone buzzed, and he glanced down. A text preview flashed. Car accident. Ethan's son injured. Mia's breath hitched. She stared at Ramos, voice unsteady. What happened? She whispered. Ramos met her gaze, conflicted. This involves your last night with Hayes, he said. Mia's heart thudded. Ramos opened, a file on the table. Inside was a hospital report. A toddler with dragon tattoos lay sedated. Mia recognized the ink pattern instantly. Her mind raced with impossible implications. Ramos watched her blanch. He cleared his throat. You're connected to this, Mia. Her hands trembled as she reached forward. The room spun with harsh fluorescent lights. Mia steadied her breath and nodded. Her world had shifted once again. Questions and fears tangled in her mind. She thought of her quiet apartment waiting behind her, and the father who had vanished without a trace. Mia steeled herself for what came next. A hidden bond had begun to surface, and nothing would ever feel ordinary again. What secret ties bind Mia to the tattooed boy? A thin envelope slipped under Mia's apartment door. She crouched on the worn rug to retrieve it. The return address read, Hayes and Son-Law. Her pulse stuttered as she sliced the seal. Inside lay a hospital wristband and a folded note. Her name was scrawled in familiar ink. Mia, you must act now. She clutched the band between trembling fingers. His son's name, Camden Hayes, was printed on it. A chill traced down her spine. Mia unfolded the second paper. It was a court summons, stamped urgent. Emergency hearing. It warned in bold print. She sank against the wall, breath shallow. Memories of last night blurred in her mind. Camden's small cries echoed in her thoughts. Mia's phone buzzed with a blocked number. She answered with a shaky, "Hello?" Silence crackled before a voice whispered, "Stay away." The line went dead. Her hand flew to her heart. Mia's instinct screamed of hidden danger. She gathered the papers and slung them into her satchel. Outside, the city thrummed with midday traffic. She flagged a cab to Methodist Hospital. The driver, a middle-aged man named Sal, hummed softly. Mia watched concrete towers blur past. Her thoughts circled back to Ethan's deserted texts. She'd believed he had simply left. Now she wasn't sure what to think. At the hospital entrance, Mia recognized Dr. Patel. He ran pediatric emergency on the third floor. She caught his eye in the crowded lobby. His expression tightened as he studied her. "Ms. Carson," he said quietly, "your presence might complicate things." Mia's jaw clenched. "Please, tell me about Camden." Dr. Patel led her down a sterile corridor. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Her steps echoed against tile floors. They reached a glass door with ICU etched on it. Inside, Mia spotted a crib with a tiny figure. Camden lay swaddled, tubes tracing his small form. A dragon tattoo peeked above his sock. Mia's breath caught in her throat. She saw bruises on his tiny arms. Dr. Patel's voice was calm but firm. "He's stable, but needs a guardian's consent." Mia's hand hovered near her mouth. She thought of her own parents' faith. Her father's auto shop felt worlds away. Mia swallowed and met the doctor's gaze. "I will help," she whispered. Dr. Patel handed her paperwork. Lines detailed emergency surgery and liability. Mia scanned the fine print. Her heart trembled with each clause. She signed, barely aware of her pen's motion. A nurse appeared with a wheelchair. She guided Mia to the crib's side. Camden's chest rose and fell in fragile rhythm. His dark lashes fluttered in sleep. Mia brushed a damp curl from his forehead. Her fingers traced the dragon ink. She felt a fierce surge of protectiveness. A sudden alarm blared through the ward. Red lights flashed on the nurse's station. Dr. Patel checked his watch, frowning. They've found evidence connected to this case. Mia's heart pounded. Evidence, she echoed, voice brittle. He nodded, eyes grave. Security cameras show someone placed Camden here. Mia's stomach twisted. Who? She demanded. Dr. Patel shook his head. The footage is being reviewed. Footsteps pounded toward them. Detective Ramos burst into the room. His gaze locked on Mia. She braced herself for his questions. I need to see that footage, he said. Ramos's partner led them to a security office. Monitors displayed empty waiting rooms. One screen flickered static. Ramos punched a button, and live feed snapped on. Camden's crib glowed under a fluorescent lamp. Mia leaned forward, breath held. On screen, a figure in hooded sweatshirt approached. They placed Camden softly, then vanished. Mia's throat went dry. Ramos grabbed his radio. Detective here. Secure all exits. He barked. His gaze flicked back to Mia. She met his eyes, determined. I need to know who did this, she said. Ramos nodded curtly. He remembered her involvement last night. Now he mused over her connection. Mia stepped closer to the monitor. A tattooed hand slipped the baby carrier strap. The camera angle revealed the same dragon tattoo. Mia's breath caught. The intruder's arm matched Ethan's ink. Her world blurred around the flashing monitors. Ramos's voice cut through her shock. This is bigger than you know. Mia's chest tightened. She stared at the screen again. The hoodie slipped back, revealing a familiar jawline. She gasped aloud. Ramos motioned toward a side door. We have to move now. Mia dropped her satchel. Camden's hospital wristband slid free. She caught it mid-fall. Her hand trembled around it. Outside, sirens wailed in unison. Rain began to patter against the windows. Mia realized she'd stepped into a hidden war, one that connected her past and future. And she had no choice but to fight. Who sent Camden here? And why involve Mia Carson? Mia slipped through the hospital's back exit. Rain washed her footprints from the concrete. Detective Ramos followed at a guarded pace. His flashlight beam cut through the dark alley. Mia's mind raced with unanswered questions. Why had Ethan risked everything for Camden? She shivered in the chill night air. A black sedan idled under a street lamp. Its windows were tinted too dark. Ramos motioned for Mia to back away. The sedan's door clicked open silently. A tall man in a tailored suit emerged. He carried a briefcase in one hand. His slick hair glistened with raindrops. Ms. Carson, he greeted with a smirk. His voice was smooth, practiced. Mia recognized him from last night's courthouse. He'd sat behind Detective Ramos. Mr. Thornton, Ramos snapped. Thornton's eyes flicked to Mia's satchel. Quite the drama, he said softly. He closed the briefcase with a click. Mia's pulse quickened. What do you want? She demanded. Thornton opened the case. Inside lay hospital reports and legal documents. He tapped the papers with a manicured nail. All evidence points to you as Camden's guardian. Mia swallowed hard. I signed because I had no choice. Thornton's smile faded. A choice you could undo, he replied. He handed her a slim envelope. Mia tore it open with shaking fingers. Inside was a single photo. Ethan, shirtless, tattooed arms wrapped around Camden. The boy's dark eyes met the camera. Mia's breath caught in her throat. Thornton stepped closer. Ethan trusts you, he said quietly, but he cannot be here. Mia clutched the photo to her chest. Ramos's hand hovered near his holster. Thornton turned and walked back to the sedan. He slipped inside and the engine purred. Ramos wrenched the car door open. Hold on, he ordered Mia. He yanked Thornton's briefcase free. Documents spilled like confetti onto wet pavement. Mia knelt to gather them. She spotted a map of Houston streets and a symbol she recognized from Ethan's tattoo. Ramos growled low in his throat. Looks like Hayes was planning something big. Mia straightened, rain dripping from her hair. A distant roar of motorcycle engines sounded. 2 bikes screeched around the corner. Their headlights stabbed through the darkness. Ramos aimed his flashlight. He barked, "Get down!" Mia dove behind a dumpster. Ramos fired a warning shot into the pavement. Bullets kicked up sparks against concrete. The bikers slowed, but didn't stop. They circled the alley in formation. Mia's heart hammered against ribs. Ramos grabbed her arm. "We have to move," he hissed. He led her toward a chain-link gate. Mia paused, hand on the latch. A gravel crunch sounded behind her. She turned to see a third biker blocking escape. His jacket bore a dragon emblem. Mia recognized the design instantly. Her breath fogged in the cold night. The biker lifted his visor. His eyes were Ethan's, but worn with exhaustion. He pressed Camden's car seat toward them. Camden whimpered from inside. Rain dripped through the open gate. Ramos raised his gun. Ethan held up a finger. "Wait," he called. The biker gang revved their engines. Their leader, a woman with ash blonde hair, glared at Ramos. "Let them pass," she ordered. Ramos hesitated, finger on the trigger. Ethan's voice cut through the rumble. "I need her alive," he said. Mia stared at Ethan, distrust and relief warring. The gate swung open at a creak. Ramos backed away slowly. The gang fell silent. Rain fell like judgment from the sky. Ethan stepped forward, eyes locked on Mia. Camden reached for Mia's hand inside the seat. Mia's chest tightened with conflicted hope. The biker leader kicked her wheel. "Move!" she commanded. Ethan lifted the car seat. Mia's legs trembled as she followed him through the gate. Behind them, the alley's shadows held more threats. And a message spray-painted on the brick wall. "Don't trust her." What hidden forces are hunting Ethan Hayes? Ethan led Mia into a dim garage gym at dawn. Concrete floors echoed their tentative steps. Dumbbells glinted under a single overhead lamp. Camden stayed with them, strapped in a car seat. Ethan adjusted Mia's gloves with careful hands. "First, lesson, stance," he said softly. Mia planted feet shoulder-width apart. Wind gusted through an open bay door. He demonstrated a basic jab. His forearm tattoo flexed with power. Mia mimicked, her fist cutting the cold air. Her first punch landed with a hollow thud. Ethan nodded, approving. "Good start," he encouraged quietly. She felt a spark of confidence. He moved to footwork drills. Mia hopped left, then right. Her breath came in ragged bursts. "Relax, your shoulders," Ethan coached. She dropped tension from her neck. Her movement smoothed with each step. Camden cooed softly from the car seat. Ethan lifted him for a quick cuddle. The boys' laughter filled the space. Mia watched their bond with warmth. Training became a shared ritual. They ran sprints around the block. Exhaustion burnt in Mia's lungs. She thought of her fear with each stride. Ethan's presence felt steady. They practiced rolls and falls on mats. Her muscles ached, but she persisted. He showed her how to aim a pistol. A shooting range lay just outside town. Under bright safety lights, she aimed. Her first shot hit the target's edge. She tightened her grip and exhaled. Her second shot landed dead center. A thrill coursed through her veins. "You're stronger than you think," Ethan said. Mia let the praise sink in. Each drill built her resolve. Her reflection in gym mirrors shifted. She wasn't the same frightened woman. Ethan shared stories of his military past. He'd served 2 tours overseas. His son's mother had died in an accident. The dragon tattoo honored her memory. Mia listened, her heart softening. She admitted her own grief over lost love. They paused under neon light. Silence weighed between them like fog. She whispered fears of failing Camden. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Failure isn't final," he assured her. Later, they practiced knife defense moves. Mia's reflexes sharpened with each drill. Her confidence grew like a steady flame. She punched a heavy bag until numb. Sweat plastered her hair to her forehead. Her body trembled, but she held firm. Ethan offered water and supportive nods. Training became healing for both. Camden watched from his cozy seat. His dark eyes shone with pride. Mia realized she'd found a purpose. She could protect this boy, but danger loomed outside their sanctuary. Sirens still echoed in distant streets. A text from the bikers flashed. "Tonight." Mia's jaw clenched at the threat. She felt stronger, yet vulnerability lingered. Ethan packed up their gear silently. Dawn light filtered through dusty windows. Mia wiped sweat from her brow. She stood taller, resolve burning bright. Her fists rested on her hips. She met Ethan's gaze with new certainty. "We're ready," she said softly. Ethan nodded, pride shining in his eyes, but both sensed the gathering storm ahead. That night, Mia crept through Ethan's safe house. Rain tapped on corrugated metal roof. Camden slept soundly in his car seat. Ethan checked windows for signs of danger. His brow was tight with concern. Mia replayed Thornton's warning in her mind. A crash of thunder shook the room. Footsteps slipped down the hallway. Ethan motioned for Mia to hide. She crouched behind an overturned crate. He grabbed a pistol from a wooden shelf. A silhouette filled the doorway. Detective Ramos stepped into the dim light. Mia's heart stuttered in fear. Ethan lowered his weapon with relief. "Ramos," he muttered. Ramos's eyes flicked between them. His face was unreadable. "I'm here to help," Ramos said softly. Mia emerged from her hiding spot. She watched Ramos slide his badge back. "Your friend Thornton is a mole," he warned. Ethan's jaw clenched. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. Ramos produced a folder of photos. They showed Thornton shaking hands with bikers. Mia gasped at the shock. Ramos continued in low tones. "Thornton's pulling strings for a rival gang." He tossed photos on a dusty table. Ethan's tattooed arms trembled. He stared at the incriminating evidence. Mia's mind spun with betrayal. "You lied to me," Ethan accused Thornton. Ramos raised his hand. "There's more." He opened a sealed envelope. Inside, Mia found her own signature. She'd unknowingly signed over custody rights. Tears welled in her eyes. "How?" she whispered. Ramos's tone was gentle. "Thornton manipulated your signature." Mia pressed shaking fingers to her lips. Ethan wrapped an arm around her. His voice was quiet, but fierce. "We stop him tonight." They planned a sting by moonlight. Camden's safety drove their resolve. Mia loaded the pistol with trembling hands. Her breath came in ragged sobs. Ethan held her close. "You're not alone," he assured. They drove through rain-slicked streets. Ramos led them to an abandoned warehouse. Its windows were boarded and dark. Thunder rumbled in the distance. They slipped inside through a broken door. Thornton awaited them under a single bulb. He smiled, arms spread wide. "Welcome," he said smoothly. Ethan aimed the pistol without hesitation. Mia felt her finger tighten on the trigger. Ramos cuffed Thornton's wrists. Thornton laughed coldly. "You think you've won?" he sneered. He tapped a button on his watch. Footsteps pounded from above. A swarm of bikers surrounded them, their faces hidden under helmets. The leader's ash-blonde hair glowed in the bulb. She raised a pistol to Ramos's head. Mia's breath caught in her throat. Ethan stepped forward defiantly. "Let them go," he demanded. The biker leader grinned. "You saved us the trouble." She pressed a button on her belt. Red lights flashed. Steel doors slammed shut. Ramos fired a shot at the lock. The biker leader laughed again. Your lawyer friend plays both sides. She glanced at Thornton. He shrugged innocently. Mia's world tilted. Ramos cursed under his breath. Ethan's eyes burned with betrayal. He lunged at Thornton, dragging him forward. Thornton spat blood on the floor. Mia locked eyes with the biker leader. She saw recognition flicker there. It was Detective Ramos's partner. Mia gasped aloud. The woman's helmet fell away. Ramos's partner raised her gun at him. Don't move, she warned sternly. Ramos froze in shock. Betrayal cut deeper than any bullet. Ethan shielded Mia and Camden. He whispered, We trusted you. The partner's eyes glinted with regret. Orders came from above, she said. Her voice trembled. Mia's stomach twisted in fury. Ramos lowered his weapon slowly. He tore off his badge. It's over, he said softly. Steel doors clanged behind them. Camden whimpered in his seat. Ethan knelt beside his son. He pressed a kiss to the boy's forehead. Mia raised her pistol at Thornton. Her hand was steady. Thornton smirked through bloodied lips. You're out of moves. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the warehouse. Debris rained from the rafters. Mia shielded Camden instinctively. Smoke spiraled around them. Flames licked the ceiling beams. The biker gang scattered in panic. Ethan grabbed Mia's hand. They bolted toward a side exit. Ramos stayed behind with his traitor partner. He nodded once to Mia. Go, he urged. Mia followed Ethan into the night. Rain washed away their footsteps again. Camden's soft cry guided their path. Betrayed and wounded, they ran. Into the storm. And toward a truth waiting in the shadows. Who set the fire? And what will it cost them? Rain pounded the rooftop helipad. City lights blurred through mist. Ethan pressed Camden close to his chest. Mia crept beside him, pistol drawn. Thornton's voice echoed from below. You're cornered, Hayes, he snarled. A chopper's rotor thumped above them. Ramos's flashlight beam carved through fog. Mia's heart hammered as engines roared. Ethan scanned the helipad's edge. Below, bikers swarmed the stairwell. Their headlights painted jagged shadows. Mia's grip tightened on her pistol. Camden stirred, crying softly against Ethan. Lightning cracked above the skyline. Ethan set the boy down gently. Stay low, he whispered to Mia. She nodded. Breath caught in her throat. Thornton's silhouette appeared at the stairwell. He aimed a pistol toward them. Ramos shouted, We need cover! A chopper door slid open overhead. Floodlights swept the rooftop canvas. Ethan dashed toward the helipad's railing. His boots splashed through shallow water. Mia fired a warning shot below. Bullets cracked against metal grating. Bikers scattered like startled rats. Ramos joined Ethan at the railing. He knelt, scanning the building's ledge. Camden whimpered in Mia's arms. She rocked him gently, calming tears. Ethan spotted a ladder to the next roof. It's our way out, he called. Mia nodded and rose to her feet. Thornton fired at Ramos's radio. Sparks flew as the radio jarred. Ramos cursed, then returned fire. His shots rang sharp in the rain. Lightning illuminated Ethan's tattooed arm. He vaulted onto the adjacent roof. Mia followed, clutching Camden close. Rain slicked every surface underfoot. The gap loomed, like a chasm between them. Ethan measured the distance with his eyes, then sprinted and leapt. Mia hesitated, breath frozen. Camden cried as she set him down. Ethan caught Camden's car seat mid-fall. He handed the boy to Mia, then reached back, grabbing her wrist. She scrambled forward, heart pounding. They landed with a jarring thud. Mia stumbled, rain stinging her face. Camden clutched her shirt, soothed by her voice. Ethan fired twice at their pursuers. Two bikers fell back with curses. Thornton's voice drifted across the void. "You can't escape fate!" Mia raised her pistol at the stairwell. Ramos joined her, side by side. They fired together in short bursts. Bikers retreated under the hail of gunfire. The chopper hovered, blades slicing mist. A cable ladder descended toward them. Ethan grabbed the bottom rung. Mia handed Camden up first. His small fingers gripped the rung. She pushed him up to Ethan. Ramos followed, radioing for backup. Mia clutched the ladder as it swayed. Wind roared through the blades above. Lightning flashed, illuminating the scene. Thornton aimed once more, silhouette framed. Ethan fired, and Thornton staggered back. He fell against the stairwell railing. Bikers below hesitated, unsure. Ramos shouted, "Now!" They all climbed the rope ladder. Each rung tested their strength. Camden cooed as rain dripped from his hair. Mia looked down at the city below. Skyscrapers gleamed like distant stars. She felt terror and exhilaration mixed. Ethan's arm locked around her waist. They reached the chopper's skid. The pilot nodded and pulled them aboard. Blades sliced rain into misty ribbons. They touched down on the next rooftop. Inside the chopper, Mia held Camden. Ethan slammed. The door shut behind them. Ramos joined, wiping rain from his face. The pilot lifted off with urgent thrust. Below, bikers regrouped, but did not follow. Thornton's distant scream carried on wind. Mia's breath came in ragged gasps. Ethan held her trembling hand. Camden babbled against her chest. Ramos exhaled slowly. Relief and guilt. The city fell away beneath them. The chopper's lights cut through darkness. Mia looked at Ethan's rain-soaked face. His eyes held fierce pride and fear. Camden reached for Ethan's tattooed arm. Ethan kissed his son's forehead softly. Mia felt tears mix with rainwater. She wrapped an arm around them both. The chopper banked toward the river. Below, neon signs danced on wet streets. Mia whispered, "We made it." Ethan's nod was solemn, but his gaze drifted back toward the helipad. Lightning lit the distant rooftop. Mia's chest tightened at unanswered questions. They flew into the storm's heart, toward danger that still waited, and toward a tomorrow they'd shape together.